welcome back to my channel. Today I am about to make some Trinidadian cheese puffs. This is pretty much a pas de choux or a choux pastry. That's what you use for the shell, and then you fill it with cheese, with a cheese base. So right now I'm about to make the pas de choux. That is actually a French pastry. So I'm going to show you how I do this step. First I'm going to add some water to the pot. I'm going to add about 3 cups of water, and I'm going to add like 3 sticks of butter. Now I'm tripling this recipe, so the scaled down version will be added in the description. So I'm making a big batch of these. It's Easter and I wanted to make some pastries, so I decided to make like a nice size batch to share with my family members. So right now I'm melting the butter in that water. You have to make sure that the water come up to a little simmer and before you add the butter, so that it will melt faster. So once that butter gets melted into the water, then we will go on to the next step. The butter is all melted and it comes up to a little simmer. I'm going to start adding in my flour. So I'm going to add in this flour a little at a time. And I'm just going to keep mixing because you don't want it to clump up too much, so you want to keep mixing it. You want to get all the lumps out because this has to be like really smooth. So right now I have my heat on a medium to low, in the middle of medium and low, because I don't want it to be too high. I want this to take its time to cook because it's kind of like cooking the flour. So that's what we're doing right now. So what we're trying to achieve here, we want this to come into a nice soft ball. So I'm going to, once all that water dries out, it's going to come into a nice smooth ball. And you want to keep mixing it. You don't want to stop because you don't want it burning at the bottom. So you want to keep stirring. So now this is the soft ball that you really want it to come into. You see it's kind of leaving the bottom of the sides of the pan, and the bottom is nice and clean. So now you know that it's it's not really sticking at the bottom or anything. So you know that this is what you want it to look like. You just want it to come together in this nice ball. So once this comes into a nice soft ball, you're going to turn off the fire, and I'm going to leave this to cool down completely. So now I know this is completely ready because it's leaving the sides of the pan is nice and clean, the bottom is nice and clean. You see it's not really sticking. So there we know that it is ready. So I'm going to turn off the heat and I'm going to let this cool down completely because after I've egged it and I don't want to cook the eggs. So we're going to leave this to cool down completely. Once it is cooled, I'm going to start adding it to my KitchenAid mixer, and I am using the whisk to mix this. So I'm going to, start adding the eggs. Now I'm adding the eggs one at a time. or a little at a time. You don't want to add it all at the same time. You want to take your time and add. I was adding like one at a time. And you just want to mix this in. Once all the eggs is mixed in, then it is ready. Now at this point, if you don't really like that eggy kind of taste, I don't mind it, but some people don't like that eggy taste, so you could also put a little bit of lemon extract in this, like just like a half a teaspoon, just to cut some of the egg taste, because it's a lot of eggs in here. It's an egg pastry, so you know there'll be that egg taste. So if you don't prefer that, you could just put a little lemon extract in there, and it will cut that fresh kind of egg taste. So once this is all mixed in, it will be ready. Alright, so this is the texture that we want, so that we can put it in the piping bag and pipe it. You know, you want it to be able to, you know, be soft enough to pipe, and you also don't want it to be too hard. Too soft, sorry. You don't want it to be too soft, and you don't want it to be too hard. So that's why you have to measure this accurately. So now it's time to pipe. I'll put my piping bag over a cup to make it, you know, cleaner and easier. And I'm just pulling it up, and then I'm going to just start piping that on. Now these, you could do these whatever size you desire. I like a medium size puff. I don't like it too small, don't like it too big. So this tip that I'm using, I think this is a size 6. Yeah, I think this is a size 6 tip that I'm using. But you could use whatever size, you know, the bigger you go, well, you know, the bigger the tip is, the bigger they're gonna be. So it's all up to your preference. So I'm just piping it on. You don't want them too close to each other, so make sure leave spaces in between, because these kind of puff up, hence the name puffs. So you see like the little peaks on top of the puffs. I am just dipping my hand in some water, and I'm just pushing that down, because you don't want to leave that peak on there, because it's going to burn and your puff will have that burn look at the top. So now I'm just egg washing the puffs. The egg wash is just 1 egg, and I added like a few tablespoons of water to it, and I'm just brushing the top of them. Then I'm gonna put this in the oven to bake. Here are my finished puffs. They're right out of the oven. I'm going to leave these to cool down, because I have to fill them with the cheese filling. So now I'm going to show you how I make the cheese filling. I have some grated cheese. I'm adding some mayonnaise. It's very simple. Some mayonnaise, mustard, and a little bit of pepper sauce. And that's it. For this, it isn't like a big amount of ingredients. I'm just gonna mix all of that in, and I want it to be nice and pasty, where it can pipe through the piping bag and the tube. So you want this to be, you know, at that consistency. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'll keep adding mayo as I go, adjusting as I go so that I can achieve that texture that I'm looking for, so that I will be able to pipe out easily. So with the mayonnaise, you want this to be not too runny, but you don't want it to be too dry. So you want to put enough mayonnaise where it will coat the cheese and make a nice paste that you can pipe. So that's what I'm trying to achieve here. So I keep adjusting it, adding more mayo as I go, because I want it to be able to pipe out of the the tube. So you see, I keep adding a little more mayonnaise as I go. This is going to make it a little loose. So I have my piping bag in a cup. This is just to make it cleaner and easier to manage. You know, it can get really messy, so this is an easy way. You just put it in the cup, you pull it up over, and it's time to pipe in the cheese. So I do this two different ways. You can do it from the bottom. I just cut an X at the bottom of the pastry and I just piped in the cheese. Another way is you can just cut this side and just fill it in like that. Now cutting this side is a lot more easier, so if that's your preference, easy, then hey, whichever way, it's going to taste the same. The only difference is that when you cut it from the bottom, it has more of a uniform look, but otherwise, you know, you can do it either way. So you just pipe it in the middle and you're done. So for these, you don't only use cheese, you could use tuna, you could use chicken, you could use whatever filling you want. I'm sure some people can use shrimp if that's what they like. You know, you make it like a nice shrimp salad kind of thing. So you can just fill whatever you like in it. And I just made like an assortment of pastries. So there's my puffs in the middle there. So hope you enjoyed this video and hope you try these pastries. Please like, subscribe, and share this video. Bye.